Well, hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. It is a Saturday evening, and welcome to everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, welcome. If you're coming back, well, I say welcome back. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations, which you can find 24 hours a day online. After the show, you can check it out. I know you'll definitely enjoy it, and it will definitely improve your life. Welcome back, everyone. Like I said, I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, not only a podcast host, but also a podcast coach. And I'm a passionate believer in personal growth through life's twists and unexpected turns. Today's a topic that cuts straight to the heart of something we all experience: how plans, no matter how perfect they may seem, often get rerouted by life itself. But here's the truth: life doesn't always follow our timeline or the blueprints that we have for ourselves. And that's not a flaw, that's a feature. The beauty of the journey is found not in the precision of execution, but in our willingness to adopt when the road bends. In this episode, I'm going to explore why planning still matters, how to embrace uncertainty without fear, and how to understand the detours we resist as they may become the destinations we cherish. So, buckle up, everyone. It's going to be a wild ride. Let's dive into the art of balancing purpose with flexibility and find clarity, not just in control, but in true trust. So, number one, guys, is planning provides direction, but not guarantees. Let me say that again. Planning provides direction, but not guarantees. And I think that upsets some people that happens like that. All right? I think that's probably something that's important. So, creating a plan gives us clarity, focus, and a path forward. It helps us set intentions, organize priorities, and make better decisions with a purpose in mind. But even the best laid plans cannot promise the outcomes we envision. Life has its own rhythm and often rearranges our timeline in unexpected ways. That doesn't mean planning is useless. It means we need to see plans as dynamic guides, not rigid contracts. A plan is a tool, not a truth. It steers us toward a goal, an aspiration, but we must leave room for our adjustments. Now, when reality diverges from our expectations, which that's going to happen, recognizing that plans provide direction, but not guarantees. And it helps us avoid frustration and disappointment when things change and remind us that flexibility is a powerful part of intentional living. And I think a lot of people get frustrated because, they expect everything to be exactly the way they want, but sometimes things will come out a lot better than the way they want. And I think that's something that we need to embrace as owners, entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, leaders. Okay, I think that's an important thing to understand, guys. A really, really important thing. Number two, unexpected changes are part of growth. So why don't we just embrace these changes? Because if we do, we're going to find out there's probably something very special waiting for us at the end. But it might seem like a challenge in the beginning. I know, I know. So it's easy to resist change, especially when it sneaks in uninvited and disrupts what we thought was secure. But the truth is unexpected. Changes are some of life's greatest catalysts for personal growth. When we're focused out of routines or comfort zones, we often discover strength, clarity, and creativity. We don't know what we had, really. These shifts challenge us to confront our fears, rethink our values, and reassess our path forward. What feels like chaos in the moment can become clarity in retrospect. Rather than seeing disruptions as derailments, we must start recognizing them as opportunities, pathways, windows into deeper understandings, and refined purposes of our life. I think that's important. Every curveball that was ever thrown to us carries the potential to elevate us if we open ourselves to learning from it. Many will say, oh my gosh, it's a curveball. Like, what am I going to do? Like, oh my God, the world's over. No, a curveball is a way for you to take your resolve and move forward. I think that's a very, very important thing, guys. I mean, a really powerful thing. So when you get that curveball, don't threat, don't cry, don't worry about it. Just understand that you have more power than you think and you can learn. All right. Okay. So let's dive into our very next point. Flexibility builds resilience. The most resilient people aren't those who power through unchanged. They're the ones who can pivot, they can bend and adapt without losing their essence. Flexibility is the quiet strength that keeps us standing when life tries to knock us down. It's the willingness to explore alternative routes when the road ahead is blocked. When we choose flexibility, our rigidity, we give ourselves permission to evolve. Instead of holding tightly to what we embrace, okay, um, we can learn how to move forward with grace. Flexibility doesn't mean abandoning our values or our goals that we've been living for. It means carrying them with us in basically whatever new shape life has or form that it takes. It's a skill that we build over time. And every time we respond to life's uncertainties with openness instead of resistance, our resilience grows deeper and more unshakable. Number four, let go of control, folks, without losing focus. And I know that sounds like you're giving up, but you're not. You're actually understanding something. I think that's really important. So, one of the hardest things in life is accepting that we're not in control of everything. Or I think that's important. We can plan, we can prepare, and work hard, but there will always be variables beyond our grasp. Learning to let go of control is not about giving up, it's about releasing the illusion, okay, that we can force outcomes. What matters is maintaining, okay, our focus on what we can control, our mindset, our actions, and our reactions. Letting go means making peace with the unknown without losing sight of our purpose. It means staying committed to the vision, but unattached to how or when it manifests. When we learn this delicate dance, holding focus without clinging, we open ourselves to peace, possibility, and even unexpected success that surpasses what we could have orchestrated alone. Number five, adaptability opens new opportunities. We all know that from the chameleons, right? The animals that can basically camouflage themselves, very similar to the way the army wears clothes that kind of lets them blend into their surroundings. We know that that's very important, and being adaptable can make us not only more resilient, but it can help us see opportunities that we didn't know existed. When we choose, again, this is the key here, it's a choice. When we choose to be adaptable, we make space for the magic to unfold in our life. Life really moves in a straight line, okay? And that's where adaptability becomes our secret superpower. It allows us to recognize doors we didn't even know existed and step into versions of ourselves we hadn't imagined. The more adaptable we become, the more options we see. What once looked like a dead end may turn into a scenic detour that leads to a better destination. Adaptability is about staying curious, willing to learn, and courageous, folks, enough to shift direction. When you're adaptable, change doesn't threaten you, it energizes you, it empowers you. You begin to trust that every redirection might be guiding you to something even more aligned than your original plan. Number six, guys, stay grounded but not rigid. I think that's a very important thing. Many people want to be on point, but for whatever reason, they are just so stay hold that they can't change. To live intentionally, we need roots, values, beliefs, and a sense of purpose that keeps us grounded. But like a tree, we also need flexibility in our branches to weather life's storms. Staying grounded means knowing who you are and standing in your truth. but not at the expense of growth. Rigidity leads to breakage. When we cling too tightly to one way of doing things or resist evolution, we close ourselves off from expansion. Instead, we can choose to anchor ourselves in what matters most while still remaining open to transformation. So, this grounded flexibility allows us to move with life rather than against it, staying strong without becoming brittle, right? We've always said, you don't want to swim upstream, right? That could be very hard. It could be very, very difficult. And so I know that as you think about life and you think about where things are going, you have to adapt this philosophy that I'm explaining to you, okay? To live intentionally, right? You have to adapt that. And it's something we can all do, but I know when things get tough, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like we cling. And see, when we cling harder to something, it makes it difficult for us to be able to change or to see other possibilities. Number seven, redirection isn't failure, it's refinement. Let me say that again. Redirection isn't failure, it is refinement. Refinement. That's a very, very powerful thing, guys. When life pulls us away from something we were working toward, it's easy to feel like we failed. But what if redirection is not a punishment, but a type of precision to realign us? Sometimes we don't realize that our plan needs fine tuning until life shows us a different way. Redirection can be a gift, an invitation to look closer, a pivot to be smarter, or pursue a path we hadn't yet considered. What we initially labeled as setbacks may actually be alignment at work. They nudge us to become more intentional and to let go of what no longer is serving us. Redirection isn't about giving up, folks. It's about leveling up. It refines not just our path, but our character and our vision. And when we can keep tweaking and tuning into that, and we can keep, working on it, I feel that that gives us infinite possibilities. It really does. But so many people don't give it a try. You know why? Because they're stuck in a certain way, right? They are stuck in a certain way. And because they're stuck in this certain way, it's like, oh my gosh, like, what am I supposed to do? Be open to change, be open to possibilities. That's a mouthful there, guys, right? That is a mouthful there. Number 8, guys, embrace uncertainty as a teacher, not as an enemy. Uncertainty doesn't have to be the enemy. In fact, it can be one of our greatest teachers, inviting us to surrender, reflect, and discover parts of ourselves we might otherwise have ignored. When we're no longer sure of what's next, we're forced to slow down, tune in, and become more present. Uncertainty teaches humility. It teaches us how to trust, how to be still, and how to navigate life from a place of curiosity instead of control. When we're curious about things, we're more playful. Okay. I've often said to people, I don't work a day in my life. I just creatively play and I get paid for it. When you embrace your work or your passion as play, you'll never work a day in your life. The unknown can be terrifying, yes, but it's also fertile ground for insight, reinvention, and revelation. Embrace it not with fear, but with reverence, and watch what you learn. I think that's a very, very important thing. Number 9, guys, trust the journey, not the destination. We live in a world that's obsessed with outcomes, but the real magic happens on the journey, happens between the breaths we take in life. Every step, every challenge, every breath, every moment of joy or frustration is shaping who you are becoming. Trusting the journey means letting go of rigid timelines and appreciating the unfolding process of life. It's about being fully engaged, all right, in the here and the now, even when it's messy or unclear. When we stop racing toward the finish line and start appreciating the road beneath our feet, we find meaning in the moment. Trusting the journey doesn't mean we stop striving. It means we strive with peace, presence, and a perspective. That's a mouthful there, guys. But why do so many people like sabotage themselves? Because they can, because they hear things from other people and they think other people are right, but they're not. Here's the part of the show that I really enjoy. So I'm going to give you basically a personal story lesson for each of the points. Okay. Um, and I'm doing this because I want you to, let's say, connect this with something real in your life. When things become real, it's like now there's a reason to do things. Okay. There's a reason to do things. And I think that's something that a lot of people, they just don't understand like what that means. All right. They don't understand what it means because they're suddenly lost. They're lost with, what they should be doing or what they think they should be doing. All because one of their friends or their colleagues or their relatives or their family says, you know what, you can't do that. And we know what Henry Ford said to us many times. If you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're also right. Number one, planning provides direction, but not guarantees. Back when I started my very first business over 32 years ago, I had a 5-year plan so detailed it could have been rivaled a blueprint for building a skyscraper. I knew what month I'd hit a certain revenue goal, which partnerships I'd lock in, and even when I'd upgrade my office. But 6 months in, the economy took a little bit of a dip. One of my biggest clients backed out, and several key deals fell through. For a moment, I felt defeated, like all the planning was wasted. But then I realized something powerful. That plan gave me the structure to adapt. I wasn't starting from scratch, I was just rerouting, retooling. And some of the clients I picked up in the aftermath turned out to be better aligned with my values and core beliefs. That experience taught me that while a plan offers clarity, it's not a crystal ball. It gives us the map, but we still have to navigate the terrain as it unfolds. Number two, unexpected changes are part of the growth. Several years ago, I was invited to speak at a national event, a huge deal for me at the time. I spent weeks rehearsing and preparing my talk. The night before my flight, I caught a terrible stomach bug. I actually had food poisoning. I had to cancel everything. I was crushed. But that cancellation led to an unexpected meeting with a small local group the following week where I tested the same content. And one of the attendees introduced me to a new business partner who helped scale my brand even larger because they invited me to a seminar 10 times the size. By the way, that place actually invited me to come back and speak 6 months later. And they, of course, didn't hold anything against me that I had gotten food poisoning. So you never know when things are going to happen. Looking back, that stomach bug wasn't just a bad luck thing, it was a redirection that led to unexpected growth. Life's interruptions often feel like roadblocks, but many are hidden gifts guiding us to what we actually need at the time. We don't think it's what we need, but the universe knows what we need very well. Number three, flexibility builds resilience. I once worked a massive project um, and did a product launch that had taken over 6 months of development. 2 weeks before the release, a tech competitor launched something earlier, similar, sleeker, cheaper, and more aggressive in their marketing. My team and I were stunned. I came up with the first wireless alarm system. It was called Alarms to Go. We could have gone ahead as planned, but instead we pivoted. We scraped some of the fluff, improved the value offering, and decided to change what we were doing. Because what happened was one of the people that we were doing work with, unfortunately, on the TV network, blabbed to somebody else. That somebody else was a major superstore. And I guess they don't have loyalty in the TV business. And that hurt. But it taught me that you got to keep your mouth shut and not share things until they're sealed. Sales didn't go where we wanted. We revised our goal. We came up with a new product launch for an entirely different concept, but we didn't tell one soul what we were doing until the product had already become a massive success. That experience reminded me that resilience isn't about sticking with your first idea. It's about being brave enough to shift gears when you're emotionally on board to only go one way. When you stay flexible, you don't break, you bounce back stronger, like a ball, right? You throw a ball on the ground, it bounces. You throw an egg on the ground, well, it cracks. Number four, let go of control, folks, without losing focus. In one of my coaching programs, I had a client who initially signed up for a one on one session, but suddenly had to pursue a pause for family reasons. I felt out of control. I had built part of my schedule around those sessions. But rather than resist, I chose to release my grip and focus on what I could do, improve my group workshops, and add new resources to my online portal. Ironically, those updated announcements attracted a whole new wave of clients. That situation taught me that letting go doesn't mean losing direction. It means shifting your energy to what still serves your purpose. We don't need to control every detail, folks. We just need to keep showing up with intention, but intention that is based on truth and around your core values. If you do not do that and you're trying to do something else because someone else has said to do it, you're going to be so disappointed, folks. Number five, adaptability opens new opportunities. During the early months of the pandemic, I had a few in person seminars lined up. With venues closing and travels getting banned, everything got canceled. Rather than wait it out, I took a deep breath and dove into virtual event hosting. This was a little scary, something I'd never done before. To my surprise, I reached more people in those online sessions than I ever could have in person. That pivot didn't just save my speaking career, it expanded it globally. Now I speak all over the world. What seemed like a limitation became a launch pad. If we stay stuck in how it was supposed to be, well, we miss out on what's trying to become. Adaptability isn't just reacting, it's unlocking a future you didn't yet imagine. Number six, stay grounded but not rigid. Early in my entrepreneurial journey, I was determined to follow the business model I had studied and drafted down to the letter and even the very character and dot on the paper. It was built on solid principles, but I resisted feedback and ignored signs that parts of it weren't working. A mentor finally challenged me to resist my why, my values. That moment helped me realize that while my purpose remained the same, my methods needed to evolve more, to adapt with the world. I restructured some of the service offerings, gave my team more creative input, and within a few months, everything began to flow better. That taught me that being rooted in purpose doesn't mean being stuck in process. Like a tree, we must remain firmly planted, but allow our branches to sway with the wind when they want to. Number seven, redirection isn't failure, it's refinement. Years ago, I launched a tech product I believed was going to revolutionize client workflows. Despite all the effort, it flopped. At first, I felt embarrassed and frustrated, but instead of scraping everything, I analyzed what went wrong and realized there was something valuable burned in the feedback. I refined the concept, simplified the user experience, and planned a relaunch 6 months later in a completely different industry, software as a service. That version became one of our best performing tools. That taught me redirection isn't the end, folks. It's a compass. What felt like a failure was actually a filter, guiding me to something more aligned and impactful. Number eight, guys, embrace uncertainty as a teacher. When I was going through a personal challenge many years ago, the uncertainty was suffocating. I didn't know what each result would be or what changes would happen each day. I learned to be still. I journaled, I spent time in nature, and got to know myself in deeper ways than I ever did before. That uncertainty pushed me to ask better questions about myself and how I was living. In the end, The scare passed, but the lesson stayed. It reminded me that uncertainty slows us down for a reason. It makes us take a pause, pay attention. It's not comfortable, but it's often the space where transformation is born. And I got to tell you, when the universe is trying to tell you to slow down, don't fight it. Slow down. Take the rest. There's a reason it's doing it. If you don't, well, universe is going to stop you like a Mack truck. And that's not going to be just discomforting. That's probably going to be painful. So take the lessons, stop, pause when you need to. Number 9, trust that journey, not just the destination. When I launched my first podcast, I initially set massive goals, grow to 100,000 downloads in 6 months, book top tier guests every week, monetize immediately. Spoiler, that didn't happen right away. But here's what I did. I met incredible people, received moving feedback from listeners, and rediscovered why I love storytelling and service. Now the show has grown organically, and the most rewarding moments were never part of the plan. I had judged the success only by numbers. I would have missed the real gift, the connection. Trusting the journey means realizing that even the slow climbs and quiet detours, they matter. They build depth and resilience and offer us to bring more joy than the destination itself. We're always on different journeys, folks. We're always on different paths. But sometimes we have to realize that the journey is actually a blast. And when we appreciate the journey, you know what happens? We start to be more successful. We start to be more conscious of things. And then we start to learn about what's actually going on. I don't know about you guys, but that's something that is so priceless. And it drives back to our point for this week, the master topic, which is timeless principles for living with intention and integrity. Intention is doing something because you want to do it, not because somebody else is telling you to do it. I think these are important things, but I don't think these are easy lessons, and they're not very simple to swallow. They require us to go in and search ourselves and get rid of any ego remnants that might be lurking. I think that's an important piece, guys. And when we learn how to do that, our life changes from night to dark almost immediately. But the reason it doesn't happen is because of your belief, right? When your belief changes, oh, your life changes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys in these amazing shows. The short-term content, the long-form content. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Catch you real soon, everyone.